Hello, this is Mr. Kinyanola, and I'm going to show you what to do when you have to find an angle when two lines intersect outside of the circle. So, this is a little different from when the lines intersect inside the circle. If you remember, when they intersect inside the circle, you add the two arcs and divide by 2. This time, what we're going to do is we're going to take the far arc. So here is the vertex of that angle, and we're going to take the furthest arc, the far arc, and subtract it from the near arc and divide by 2. So instead of adding, we're going to subtract this time. So we're going to take 115 and subtract 55 and divide that by 2. And so let's take our trusty old calculator. 115 minus 55 is 60, and divide that by 2, which is 30. And so this angle, the indicated angle, is 30 degrees. All right, so here is another example. We're going to do 3 examples, so that's 1 out of 3, 2 more to go. So look at this. So we have a tangent line. It's tangent because it only touches the circle at one point here. And we have a secant because it goes through the circle twice. But it's the same formula. We're going to take the far arc and subtract it from the near arc, then divide that by 2 to get this angle. All right, so we already have this angle. We're trying to figure out what this arc is. So let's take 185 and subtract it by the question mark and divide it by 2, and then set that equal to the angle, which is 35 degrees. So I'm going to put that invisible 1 under this 35. And then we're just going to cross multiply. So 1 times all of this is all of this, which is 185 minus question mark is equal to 2 times 35 is 70. Make that a 0. And to get that question mark by itself, let's subtract this 185 from both sides. Okay. And so we have 70, so these cancel out. So we'll take that 70 and subtract it from 185, which will give us a negative number. Don't be afraid. It's fine. That's a negative number because we have a negative question mark. So we'll bring down that negative question mark. So that's negative an invisible 1, so negative 1 times question mark is equal to negative 115. The opposite of multiplying by negative is dividing by a negative 1. And so 2 negatives make a positive. So the measure of that question mark is 115 degrees. So this is 115 degrees. All right, so and the very last example of when two lines intersect outside of a circle is this one. So this question says to find x, and it says over here, find x. So we're going to do the exact same thing to set this up. We're going to take the far arc, which is 153, and subtract it from the near arc, which is 10x minus 5. But look what I'm doing. I'm putting a parentheses right here because I want to subtract this entire thing. So instead of just subtracting from the 10x, you'll see what I mean in a second. And then we take the far, subtract from the near, and divide by 2, and set it equal to the angle, which is 11x minus 1. And we'll put that invisible 1 under there so that we have a proportion. And before we cross multiply, let's simplify this. So we're going to take this negative. You guys remember from algebra 1, we're going to take this negative and distribute it here and here. And we'll have 153 minus 10x, and two negatives make a positive 5 over 2, which is equal to 11x minus 1 over 1. So if I didn't put this parentheses here, you'd have a negative 10x minus 5, and you get the wrong answer. So let's get the right answer by putting the parentheses there and distributing that negative. And now up here, let's combine some like terms. 153 plus 5 is 158 minus 10x over 2 is equal to 11x minus 1 over 1. Now, we can't combine any like terms, so let's cross multiply. So 1 times all of this is all of this, 158 minus 10x. And 2 times all of this is twice as much as this. So I'm just going to write this 2 over here and distribute it here and here. 2 times 11x is 22x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And we'll do some algebra. So we could do two things. We're going to, this opposite of subtracting 10x is adding 10x. And the opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2 from both sides. 100, so these cancel out, and these cancel out. So 158 plus 2 is 160. 22 plus 10x is 32x. This is 32 times x. Opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 32. I think the answer is 5, but if you don't believe me, so let's take our calculator. 160 divided by 32. I was right, 5. So x equals 5. And that is it. That's what you do when you have two lines that intersect outside of the circle. You take the furthest arc, the far arc that's away from the angle, and you subtract it from the near arc, okay, and you get that. So what I didn't do in this video was I didn't highlight. So there's that. So this arc minus this arc divided by 2 instead of equal to the angle. And that's it. Hope this helps and helps you get good grades. Have a great day.